Hello everyone, it's me Andrea. Today I will show you a card I make and I use this craft paper bag for it, a part of it, and I tear it apart instead of cutting because I want to have this distressed edges. So this was definitely too big for the card base I wanted to use. This is the napkin I will use and that's the card base. So I have to tear more off and I was planning to put the napkin on like this, but I changed my mind as you will see afterwards. So I will tear that off and that will fit then. So, and no, I won't use it like that. Changed my mind. I will work on that craft paper with gesso. I use a very dry brush with this hard brush bristles and bristles, do you say? Yeah, I think so. And I put carefully layer and layer on top because you can always put more on. What to get this bloppy gesso off, it's quite difficult because yeah, what's on, it's on. So rather put different layers on top. Wasn't contrasty enough, so I put more on top. Always load my brush only carefully that it's not getting too wet. And I think that's the last layer. I'm happy about that. And then the last bit of leftover gesso I diluted with water and I put some splatters on top then. So now I'm using this archival ink in coffee and a cloth to put it on at the edges. And I learned that actually from Ina Salzberg. She always does it, and I thought that might be a good idea. Instead of a little sponge or one of this Tim Holtz little applicator, because you have so much more control over it and you can manipulate it much better, have areas, press your finger down, it's much more concentrated or lighter. That's really good. Thanks for that great tip, Ina. So, and as I said, I won't use the whole one. I changed my mind and now tear that apart. I was more into the blossoms than into the green stuff. And that's what I always do when I use napkins. I tear it apart instead of cutting it, because when you cut it, you have a much sharper edge and that won't blend in so much. So, wasn't sure about using Liquitex or Mod Podge. I used, in this case, Liquitex, but I will go over to Mod Podge later, you will see, because it won't stay like this. So, put that down, and then I decided it was blending too much into the background because I wanted to have them more visible. So I put some gesso on top of the flowers, and I had another napkin with the same motif, of course, and I've torn that in the same way and glue it on top of that with Mod Podge. Because this time I use Mod Podge because it gives you a much smoother or slicker surface, and you can work better with ink pencils on top, and you can move the ink around. It stays longer wet, the ink, so that you can move it with your finger. So for stamping, I use my go-to script stamp from Kaisercraft. Here, this, and it calls script blah 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 blah. It calls script, and I use the brown archival because I didn't want to have extreme contrast. That's why I didn't use black. So, and on this slick surface with the Mod Podge, you have to make sure that it dries properly. So, and then I go on and put some lines around it. I use this Micron 0.05, I think it is, and put some sketchy lines around it, outline it even out center to give it an even more sketchy look. And after that I go in and use first a white big brush pit pen and blend it out with my fingers, put a bit on and then blend it out. That's really great on that surface. And then I use my the good old Sharpie and get some white lines in for a bit of a contrast and highlighting. So I wanted to have a bit of sparkle, you know. So I thought, I'm using my Posca, that's a metallic pink. the Posca, and I use it for the middle part of these flowers, and you can see it sparkles a bit. You can see it in the close-up afterwards. So some white dots and then these pinky dots, and yeah, it gives a bit sparkle to it with the craft paper. I think with the craft paper it's always nice to have a bit of sparkly stuff as well, as for contrast. And then I like this very, very strong contrast with the black paper I layered on. Yeah, as you can see, I really like this strong contrast, and especially in this case with the craft paper. So this leftover piece happened to have the right width, and glue it on. And what I do here, I lift the edges. I didn't glue it that close to the edges, and I lift them to keep this distressed look. So this way you can glue it down so much better without measuring, and so that works really good. So lifting again the edges to keep the distressed look, and then cut it to shape. That goes onto that pink cardstock at the next layer, and then on the card. Make sure that the opening is on the right side. So, and that's the card. Now for the word, it will be a birthday card. So I use this congratulation die with black cardstock and fuzzing around where to put it. I didn't want to have it in the straight version on top. So I quite like to have it like this, but I didn't like it over the flower. Then I thought, why not taking it? It's 4 parts anyway. Why not having it layered down like this? There's no rule that the word should stay together, isn't it? So I like that, a bit wonky that how I glued it down, but it's a handmade card, so what? And for a bit of sparkle, I use my Stella clear pen. It gives it a really nice sparkle on the black. It's a nice contrast. And this is the close-up already. So I'm so pleased with this card. It's really nice. It has a bit of a diffuse look to it. I really liked it. So that's it. Thanks a lot, guys, for watching. I hope you like it, and I hope I will see you with my next project. So have a fantastic time. See you then. Bye bye.